All right, thank you for showing. Um, Today I wanted to talk about Speedroids. I was recently at a regionals, and I was just there for fun, and I was playing my Speedroid deck, and it kind of surprised me at how few people just didn't understand how the deck was supposed to play, and the combos involved, and I even, believe it or not, had a mirror match, but my opponent clearly did not really understand how the deck is supposed to flow. So first, what we're going to do is I'm going to go through my current Speedroid build, talk briefly about some of the Speedroid cards that are out that I do not play with in the build and why. And I might even cover that as I'm speaking about the going through the deck profile. So the first thing, 3 copies of Speedroid Terratop. Terratop, not only does it special summon when you control no monsters, it special summons itself, it's also your main searcher in the deck. Now, one thing I like to say about Speedroids is they're a balanced deck in an unbalanced format, and I'll cover that a little bit. In our first one here is, while Terratop, you only get its search effect once per turn. So it doesn't matter how many times it's summoned, you only get it once. Now, your primary target for him, if you don't already have him in your hand, is going to be Speedroid Tachanoborg. Tachanoborg has the effect that you can special summon him from the hand when you control another wind type monster. You can then, but you can only special summon him once per turn. And then you can tribute him to special summon a Speedroid, yeah, I believe it specifically says Speedroid Tuner. Yep, special summon one Speedroid Tuner monster from the deck. However, if you use that effect, you can then only go synchro into, or you can only special summon wind type monsters. So as we'll get into the extra deck, I have kind of geared my extra deck to cover that, to get into that. The next card that you're going to be running 3 of is Speedroid Double Yo-Yo. When this card is normal summoned, you special summon a Speedroid monster from your graveyard. Usually that monster is going to be a tuner, so you can make a synchro play. Now, the first of our no, so the first of our tuner monsters is Speedroid Red-Eyed Dice. The reason why you run 3 of this one is he is really your toolbox to go into the different synchro monsters, because he has the effect that when he is some normal or special summoned, you can change the level of one Speedroid monster on the field between 2 and 6. And since he is a level 1, it means you can go into 3s or up into 7s. This deck really does have it doesn't really go into 8s very often. Now, the next card and last card that you're going to be running 3 of is Speedroid Menko. Speedroid Menko is kind of like the battle fader of the deck. You can, when you are attacked directly, you can special summon him in face-up attack position and switch all your opponent's monsters into defense position. And it also leaves you then with a level 4 on the field in order to make a play next turn. He's saved my butt multiple times. Then we run 2 Speedroid Tri-Eyed Dice. Tri-Dice is a level 3. He's not quite the toolbox that Red-Eye Dice is, but he is a Necrogardna, in that you can banish him from the graveyard to to negate the next attack. Now, the first card that might surprise people that we are playing is Pilka, Descendant of Gusto. Pilka has the effect that when she is normal or special summoned, you can special summon a wind type tuner monster from the graveyard. So you can, and because she is a psychic, you can search her with emergency teleport. Now, there is a card within the archetype called Speedroid Kid. I do not run Kid because he does. First of all, he does not get the effect when he is normal summoned or special summoned. He's also, there's no good way to special summon him as easily as you can Pilka using emergency teleport. Now, the next card that's kind of a tech for me is Armoroid. Now, Speedroids are considered roid monsters. They're a subtype of the roid monsters. So some of the so yes, you old school players will remember Cyrus Truesdale and his vehicle roids. So they can utilize some of that support. Unfortunately, they really don't use it very well. I like Armoroid because you can special summon Terror Top, special summon to Counterborg, and then tribute them for Armoroid. And he has the effect that, and you would still get his effect because they are Roid type monsters, to banish all spell and trap cards on the field. So it doesn't destroy, it just straight up banishes. The last monster we're playing in the main deck is Machina Fortress. Just the way the deck plays is you really do want your tuners in the graveyard to bring them back with Pilka, to bring them back with Double Yo-Yo. So, and he's just a good, and they're all machine type. The only monster in the deck that is not machine type is Pilka. So you can discard just about anything and special summon him. And he's just a good monster. Moving on to spell cards, I run 3 MST. This deck is a really aggressive deck. You do not want back row. One of the nicest things about Speedroids, though, is they have really their own equivalent of Monster Reborn in Speed Recovery. So Speed Recovery, you can special summon one Speedroid monster from your graveyard, or target one Speedroid monster in your graveyard, special summon it. Then it has the added effect that during your main phase, except on the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from your graveyard to target one Speedroid monster and add it back to your hand. So so there's a lot of plays with that. Now, I meant to mention it earlier, and we are playing with 3 emergency teleport. Again, Pilka is the primary reason for this. I'm pretty sure most people are not going to be surprised by that. Now, we run 2 Shock Surprise. Shock Surprise, you banish up to 2 Speedroid monsters in your graveyard to destroy 2 cards on the field. Useful for clearing back row and also banishing cards for Kendama's effect. Then 2 Dark Hole, a Regeki, and limiter removal for obvious reasons. Now we do have a very light trap lineup just because the way the meta is, traps in general just seem too slow. We are running one compulse, a bottomless trap hole, torrential tribute, and vanity's emptiness. I don't think there's going to be a lot of explanation needed for that. Now, going into the extra deck, and there's going to be some surprising changes for this. Again, you want to keep in mind that some of the effects that you have in the deck do limit you to special summoning wind type monsters. So we have Mistbird Colossus. He's level 3. He's useful. A lot of your monsters are low attack, so he is useful for reducing their attack to 0 so you can attack over things. Old Entity Haster. He's really is a very good card, and I use him a lot in the deck. He acts like a fiendish chain, and if your opponent does destroy him, then you can take control of your opponent's monster. We are running 2 high Speedroid Chambara. Chambara is really your go-to damage dealer. He can attack twice and gains 200 attack each time it goes into battle. So it doesn't matter if he's attacking, so he declares the attack, gains 200 damage, attacks again, gains 200. So now he's up to 24. Then if your opponent attacks him, he'll gain the damage again and be at 26,000. And he also has the added effect that when he is destroyed and goes to the graveyard, you can take one of your banished Speedroids and add it back to your hand. We are playing 1 high Speedroid Hagata. Hagata, he is going to see much more use once Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon comes out. His first effect is kind of lackluster. You contribute him to make all the monsters on the field gain a level, but it's a second effect that if this card is in the graveyard while you control a Speedroid tuner monster, you can then special summon him from the graveyard. So he ends up opening your plays to really get Crystal Wing on the field. In this build, we are running 1 Speedroid Kendama. He's another one that you're going to go into quite a bit. He does piercing, and if he's in the graveyard while you control no monsters, you can special summon him from the graveyard, although then you cannot normal summon that turn. He also has the effect that you can he's also got the effect that you can banish I believe it's just a machine type. Yeah, banish 1 machine type monster in your graveyard to inflict 500 damage to your opponent, so that there can help you clinch games, and also set you up for when your Chambara inevitably gets destroyed by your opponent's Regeki or Dark Hole or whatever. Another card that you're going to go into quite a bit is Clearwing Synchro Dragon. Now, I really don't need to explain this. Because of how Red-Eye's dice effect is, he can only change their level to between 2 and 6, so you have a hard time going to level 7s, or level 8s, but you can go into level 7s just fine. And Crystal Wing is going to be your go-to level 7. Now, I also play a Black Rose Moonlight Dragon. It's just a good toolbox monster. Same with the original Black Rose Dragon. Then I also like to run Odd Eyes Meteor Burst Dragon. Meteor Burst Dragon is definitely a good card to go into when you do not have the wind restriction. Not because you're using pendulums, but because of his effect that your opponent's, when he is on the field, your opponent, yeah, when this card, what you're playing him for is the effect that monsters in your opponent's possession cannot activate their effects during the battle phase. So that prevents your opponent's um, Cosmos from going off. The last of our synchro monsters is Mistworm. I know a lot of people would rather play um, sorry, would rather play Trishula, but again, you're playing around that restriction of only going into wind monsters, and there's times where just bouncing them back to the hand is actually better off. Now, we do play with a couple of synchro monsters. The first is, of course, is going to be Lavier. Again, keep both Terratop and Tikanaborg your primary go-tos for any kind of synchro play are level 3s. So Lavier is a good choice to get back one of your banished Speedroids to possibly do a chain or make an additional play. Another card I like to play in the deck is Totem Bird. Totem Bird detached to negate a spell or trap card, pretty good. Um, Now, a card I have in the deck for an option that probably is going to be, might be one of the first choices to get taken out for the Crystal Wing is Dracosac. Again, but usually your level 7s are really, once you have them on the field, you're going to want to try to keep them on the field as opposed to overlaying them for Dracosac. Now, a couple of the cards I don't play, we're probably going to need to, let me bring up, let's see. Should have had this ready, but, well, first of all, again, we'll talk here. Card that you don't really play is going to be Oja Kid. As I mentioned before, just because Pilka is better as a toolbox monster, or is better, does the same thing and is just better. Another Speedroid monster that a lot of people seem to always play is the Razorang, and the thing with Razorang is he really does not synergize too well with the deck overall, just because he's a 2000 attacker, but he's also a 2000 attacker that can't attack the turn he is summoned. So it really slows you down. The deck is made to be, you really want to be a synchro spam deck with how it plays. Um, now, me now I know a lot of people will play Expressroid in the deck. Expressroid is, I can see why. You normal summon him, you get back to your Roid monsters. The problem with that is really you're setting up for a follow-up play that you're not going to get just because of how fast the format is. We're in a format where trap cards in general are really considered too slow. Um, if you're actually wondering what I'm doing right now is I am getting the deck shuffled up so I can show you how I would play out a couple of different potential hands while I'm talking about this sort of thing. Now, Speedroids, let's see. Speed recovery, speed. What's an anime card? Now, they have. Now, I've already talked to you two other specific um, cards are Speed Recovery and Shock Surprise. I do have those in the deck. Another specific card that just came out in Breakers of Shadow is High Speed Relevel. I really don't see the purpose of this card. It is a normal spell card. You banish one Speedroid monster from the graveyard, and then target a synchro monster you control. It changes its level to that of the banished monster and gains attack equal to that monster's level. I'm sure there's plays with that, especially when you're trying to go into other synchro monsters instead of synchro into a synchro or something along those lines. But you've got other effects that most notably Red Eye Die that you would use for level fixing. I just if it was it would be one thing if it was quick play, so you could activate it on your opponent's turn to get that extra attack boost to save your monster. But now a couple other cards, a couple of their archetype specific trap cards are Dice Roll Battle, and if I remember right, yeah, basically it's a Dice Roll Battle. It's basically just an urgent tuning for that's specific to it. I Again, as we mentioned before, the current meta, it's just too fast. Any kind of trap card is just like, unless they're a really good one, is not going to be good. Now we are going to see more Speedroids in Strikers of Shadow, or not Strikers, Shining Victories. The only one that I would really play is I would replace one of the red eye dice for the um, Den Archduke. It's another level 3 tuner, but has the effect that you can banish him from the graveyard to special summon a tuner monster from either your graveyard or your hand. Again, he's a good option for play for just additional making additional synchro plays. Um, the pachinko cart is the other one. That one, I can see how it could be good. It's a 1800 4-star with the effect that you can discard a monster to target and destroy a monster. Yeah, once per turn you can discard one machine type monster, then target one monster on the field, destroy it. Yeah, anything that really targets these days is really not good, and you're basically using your turn to try to destroy a monster when you really would rather make a synchro play. So I'm gonna see here if I've shuffled this up thoroughly enough to show you a sample hand here. So all right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't think I shuffled it up too well here. Um, Again, if this is an aggressive deck, you usually want to go second. So this is not an ideal hand. You're probably going to play Regeki, and I would actually then pass turn, using the Menko on my opponent's turn to give myself another turn. Let's see what we would draw. Would then draw to Compulse. So then we would summon Red Eye Die and probably go into Chambara or something like that. I should probably at some point just play on DevPro and show you some plays. Build the deck on DevPro and show you how it plays there. Now, some of you might have noticed I do play, it is at 42 cards. I have no issues playing with about 40 cards, especially in a deck like this where you do get searches off, you know. Let's try this again. Oh wow, that's just another bad hand. No, this saved itself. So with this hand, what we're probably doing is we're normal summoning 3-eye die, special summon to Canterburg, synchro into Kendama, then activating emergency teleport, grabbing Pilka. Pilka's effect gets us back to 3-eye die, and then we would overlay them for Totem Bird. Again, not a bad play. Oh, and then our next turn, we're going to draw Machine of Fortress. So then we'll just discard a Red Eye die and Machine of Fortress to special summon Machine of Fortress. And we're off to a pretty good start. So I think I'm going to end the video there. Again, please like, subscribe, leave a couple comments, and I'll try to remember to upload or to record some DevPro play and load that up as well. So again, please like, comment, subscribe, and feel free to ask any questions. And have a nice day.